so for us, we need that space, I think, right? Like, so
Yeah.
I used to think that I am very special, someone who no one understands me, kind of a person, in the world. And then I meet this collaborator of mine here, and then my mind is like blown. I'm like, I am not. I am normal, I think I'm normal.
This is where context matters.
Yeah. So when you see something bigger than you, in a way, in a very positive way, let's say, when you see something really bigger than you, I think you begin to realize that it is a totally different story. It's a very and that I think that's why we are who we are. I think geeks are no one like alien concept or something. I think we are just some people who likes to think very deeply about some stuffs,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
kind of and which a lot of people do not think about, and
yeah, totally.
about stuffs that people do not think about.
Yeah,
And I
totally.
think it has advantages of it and also some disadvantages sometimes, because it doesn't help us mingle with the social.
Hey, homes, welcome back to another episode of Exploring Beyond the Superficial podcast. This is a three-part series of my conversation with Ratula, who is a childhood friend of mine and a PhD researcher. This three-part series is surrounding growing up and handling life as a geek, which is a label both me and Ratula fall under. In part one of the series, which is this episode, we explore answers to various important questions like what's the geek way of communication? How different or weird are we? How does education filter down people based on different tires? How does fitting in works for us? How does boundaries work for geeks? How often do we piss people off? And how distracted or organized are we? And of course, are geeks devoid of emotions and geeks versus social norms? So let's tune in.
But
Since we moved to English,
since we're moving to English now, right?
we can finally start off.
We can finally, yeah, okay, perfect, yes,
Okay. Uh, so the topic is about being a geek and
yeah,
how we interact with the people around us and the overall perspective.
yeah.
Like
I have a
you,
lot to say.
yes, currently you are surrounded by geeks because you are into research. So you,
Mm, yeah, let's say. So, yeah, do you want to say something?
yeah, I'm just basic up, like I'm basically setting up the stage
Yeah, yeah,
as a
yeah.
host. And
Okay.
in general, geeks are
Mm-hmm.
not the majority of the people. So in a way, we are in a bit of a minority. So that keeps brings up a bit of a barrier.
Yeah,
It's
of
not
course.
that prominent. You have to be one to realize that there is one. And
Yes.
over years, I have noticed that that is the case.
Yeah.
And like I am with peace with it, of course, at the moment. But
Yeah.
for initial phases, there was a period where it felt weird. And that's something
Yeah.
we will be basically discussing.
Yeah.
But to begin, I will start with you because I don't know much about what you are doing. Although I know you're doing
Yeah.
into research, but I don't know what the
Okay.
research is about. My only guess
Hmm.
is I have two guesses. It has
Hmm.
something to do with biotech and it has something to do with data. That's my only guess.
Yes, good. So you are already on the right track. So this is a question which I get every time from all of my friends. Like one of my friends just wrote to me that, Ratla, can you just write to me in WhatsApp what you work on? Because I'm going to tell a friend about you, just like general discussion. And that friend is asking me what is her PhD topic? And she's like, I
Oh, so
don't
it's
know.
PhD.
It's PhD. Yeah. So I'm doing my
Dr. Ratula.
PhD.
Nice.
Not yet. I'm in my
But that's
third
what
year,
you'll
so
be.
I'm in my third year right now,
I'm
and here
remembering
the
so many
PhD.
memes now.
I can completely imagine. Oh God, that's another topic we will cover. Anyway, yeah. So I'm doing actually my PhD from Technical University of Munich, and I
Oh,
work with,
so it's a
yeah,
TUM, like they use the.
TUM. Yeah, 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 yeah. I work
Huh,
at TUM. Yeah.
huh, okay.
So so in
Yeah.
Germany, I think there are 7 to 8 TUs, and TUM is the one for Munich. Yeah.
Oh, so like their version of IIT.
Yeah, exactly.
Huh.
Their version of IIT. So people here are pretty much, they're like, I have the TU tag, kind of. Yeah. So, uh, I work in a very niche field, to be honest. I work with morphology of plant organs. So it's called morphogenesis. And
Oh,
I work in
that's a very
creating,
cool term.
yeah, and that's the biological aspect of it. But what I work on is to create
Morphology of.
simulations, plant organs. So I work
Okay.
with plant ovules, and
Huh.
I create computation simulation based on continuum mechanics, to simulate how plants grow.
Okay. Okay.
So I work
You
all
have
day
you
with cartoons and like finite
cartoons?
element. Yeah. So if it is simulation, right? I create 2D and 3D
Oh,
simulation
okay,
of
okay, okay,
how
okay,
plants
okay,
grow,
okay, okay, okay.
certain
Okay.
organs.
I
Yeah.
heard you, but I didn't get anything. So you'll have to
Mhm.
repeat, but slowly.
Okay. Okay.
So wait,
So
it's a morphology of plant organs. Then you use
yes,
one term that describes the entire thing in one term,
morphogenesis.
morphogenesis. The terms are very cool.
Yeah. It's super. It's a super cool field, actually. I think you would love it because you are a person who I think loves visual arts, right? You
Oh,
love
of
visual
course.
arts, and I do a little bit of confocal microscopy. So where I
Wait,
go
wait,
into the
wait, wait. There is so much about it.
so
I have to bring my
yes,
notebook
I
closer.
work with something which is very hard for me to explain it to people because I'm working with biology, physics, and computation. So these are the
I
three,
was prepared for biology and computation. That
and
was my
also a
guess.
little bit of
Where
physics
did physics come
now.
from?
Yeah. So
But
it's
but 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 before
yeah,
that, I still did not get the field
yeah.
right. It's
Yeah. So it's
it's morphology of plant organs. The technical
yes,
term is morphogenesis. Very cool.
right.
It kind
Yeah,
of makes sense when you break it up. Then you
exactly.
explain the field with something
Yeah,
that I
yeah, yeah.
completely forgot.
Wait. Yeah. So plants grow, like different organs of plants grow in a certain way, right? So ovule. So what I work with is ovule, but there are people who are working on the same field with leaves, with roots, with stems, with different things. Okay. So in ovule is such a small thing inside a plant that it is very hard to. So our lab, the lab in which I work in, it basically was the first lab ever to actually do this 3D imaging of these ovules, to do 3D imaging of these things. And but it is but there is no existing method right now in the world to do a time lapse of it. Time lapse imaging. You
Okay.
cannot do time
Acha,
lapse
because
imaging
it's
of that
internal.
because of its internal, and there are a lot of technical constraints attached to it. Okay.
Okay. But I've
So
seen people do
yeah,
time lapse of very crazy stuff. But I understand you
I
cannot
know.
do it
You can,
internally.
yeah. You can do a pollen grains actually. I have seen people do it, pollen tubes
Okay.
formation
Huh. Makes sense.
and
Makes
everything.
sense.
You can do it, but with ovule there are some limitations. Okay, you cannot do it. So how do we know how it is growing? We know at fixed stages how it grows, but we do not know how it's going. So that's where the simulation comes in, where I create that how. So depending on the morphology at cellular level, I create tissue level simulation where I put principles of continuum mechanics. So, what are the mechanical conflicts in the tissue? So, because plant cells are attached to each other, it's not like animal cells.
Even
It's
animal
attached by
cells are
cell.
attached to each other. Like
No, no, no,
depends
no,
on
no,
which
no.
part we're talking about. I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
skin is,
yeah.
for example, attached to each other.
Yeah. But for plant cells, the cell has cell walls, so it's like a very organized structure in plants. So if a plant is growing, there are mechanical conflicts within the plants, right? There
Okay.
because one part grows
Okay.
more
Huh.
than the
Makes
other,
sense.
which results in the final shape of a plant,
Yeah.
of any plant, of any leaf. Actually, I can explain it. I can keep talking about this the whole day. Actually, if someone lets me,
I
even
don't
in
mind.
leaves.
If it gets
Yes.
boring, I can just cut it out. So,
Yeah. So even in leaves, do you know why some leaves kind of droop like this, and for other leaves it's more like grow straight, or maybe why grasses just grow straight out, whereas some leaves grow like this. It's all mechanics.
huh.
It's not
Huh.
only
I know.
genes. It's all mechanics of how certain cells there is
Yeah.
arranged in
It's
a way,
like
or certain cells. Yeah.
one layer is growing faster than the other layer.
Exactly. So in leaves, you have two layers, like
Yeah.
so they call abaxial, adaxial layer, and
Okay.
one is growing faster than the other, and it
Uh,
creates like this.
what was that?
So it's abaxial, adaxial.
Okay. One is
Uh,
top, one is bottom.
yeah, exactly,
Which one is bottom?
exactly.
Which one is top?
So the abaxial is the top, and the adaxial is the bottom,
Okay. Oh,
and then
what's that?
the
What's this? I'm kind.
this is something I got from Florence. This I have to tell you, Florence. I was in Florence, right? Just for
Okay.
a trip, and I had the craziest time there. Like if I tell you, you will not. So Florence is the place from where Da Vinci comes from where the
Oh,
Renaissance
Da
actually
Vinci
took
is love.
place. Yeah, so the entire Renaissance took place in Florence, and it spread to other parts of Europe. It's a birthplace of
That's why
Renaissance.
it felt like I've heard it somewhere,
Yeah,
but I
yeah,
couldn't
yeah,
remember it.
yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So you have that's a city where you have fresco paintings in every church you go, everywhere, and you have this dome. You have yeah, it's Michelangelo's David, the statue, everything. Okay, so we went there, and we had so I had this bag with me always, which had my passport, okay, and my residence permit, and of course I lost it while going for shopping because I just put the bag down, and I uh, I was trying on some clothes, and then I forgot to take it up. I mean, me being me, forgot to take it up, and I lost it. And after that, we went through like a whole scavenger hunt throughout Florence to look for it. But our first point was we go to a police station, okay, and then we because I had to get some sort of a temporary travel document so that I can at least come back from Florence back to Munich because I don't have my passport. They can ask me in the train. So I just had to lodge an FIR, and then I would take that case
Is
number
it
and
still,
then
is
come to
it
the.
called FIR there as well, or the term is different?
I don't know what it's called exactly. They have some other name for it, maybe. And there, people do not speak English. I don't speak Italian. We are all talking through Google Translate.
Oh
It's a
shit.
mess. Okay, it was a mess. Okay, and then I know I have to come back to Munich and call the Indian embassy and get a new passport issued.
Okay.
But I need that FIR form for that. So I
Okay.
went to the police station, and this policeman. So Italian boys are pretty handsome, right? And this policeman was also pretty good looking, and he was, I don't know what on earth, he asked me, do you have an ID? I was like, yeah. I gave him my employee ID, which I had. I gave it to him, and he is looking at it, and he said, you should smile more, in your ID photos. And I'm thinking, I lost my bloody passport. I want it back. I do not want at this point to talk about. I smiled. So after the adventure, there was another thing, how we found it, we figured out, we traced back to the shops, and we found it before the police did anything, basically. And that's why, as a memory from
Not
there,
that
I have a,
different.
yeah. As a memory from there, I have this bracelet. It says smile. So
Oh, okay.
it's kind of like a reminder for this
Okay.
Florence trip that I had. Okay, and also we got stuck at 12 a.m. at night at one point, and there were no taxis, no cars, nothing to take us back to our Airbnb, and the road was blocked because of some festival going on in the village. And our Airbnb was like 1.5 hours away from that place, and we were like, okay, we are tourists, we don't know what is happening. We have to reach home. It's 12 a.m. at night, and it happened on the same day. It happened exactly after we found the passport. We thought, okay, the worst is over, but no, did this. And then I had to go and approach to another police officer around at the festival and just tell him, look, we are international tourists, we do not know how to, because we are not getting any taxi, and this place doesn't have Uber. I don't know how it's possible they do not have Uber.
They
they
have
do
some other
they
apps.
have some taxi app, but no one is picking up there, like no
Oh,
one, literally. And even the police tried to reach them, no one was picking up, nothing was happening. And then I was like, you know what, we are international
Italy has
tourists,
a
we are
reputation about being
oh
lazy.
my God. And then I was like, I literally was like, we are international tourists. We don't know the language here. We do not speak the language here. Can you please help us? We are not able to do this thing right now. And otherwise, we are stuck here for the rest of the night. And then the one of the police officers, he was so good. He was like, you know what?
You
You
should
stay
smile
here
more.
till 12. Yeah, He was also handsome. He said that, you know what, you wait here until 12, and if you do not find a taxi till then, after my duty is done, I will drive. I have my car. I will drive you guys home. And he did it.
Oh,
So
nice,
we got a
nice.
ride at the police car at 12:30 a.m. at midnight. So yeah, Florence was pretty something to remember. But the
Oh,
food, you have to visit there once in your life. Oh my God, I think it is the place to for any art lovers.
that's where the macaroni photo was from.
Yeah, yeah, everything.
They give a spoon for macaroni. That's this kind of thing. You need a spoon for eating that. Why?
Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh God, it's like
Why do do they
ah
really
the
eat
mac.
macaroni with a
Oh,
spoon?
oh no, 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 no. You mean the macaron food? Ah, that photo. No, it was not from there. It is so it is in Germany, but macaron is actually a French thing. And
Yeah,
in
I know.
France, it's a French thing, right?
Yeah,
French dessert.
I know.
And in France, everything you have is this portion, everything. But they have a five-course meal.
Hmm.
Okay. So you have something like a pre-appetizer, then you have appetizer, then you have starters, and then you have main course. And
Wait,
so by
appetizers and
the
starters
time,
are not same.
no, 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 there's difference.
Okay.
Appetizer should get you ready for starters. It is, yeah. Mm, there is also something here called aperitifs, which is like a drink which helps you to get start with the real drink. So it's not like
Okay,
you are
okay.
going main.
Yeah, yeah, I know, I know. Like wine actually falls in that category.
Maybe I'm not
Like
sure of that, but
I forgot the
they call
term.
it aperitifs or something. Yeah, they have
I'm not
something.
very familiar with the term either. I know the
Yeah,
term,
yeah,
but I cannot remember it. The thing is, yeah,
yeah.
it kind of cleans your palate on the
Palette.
tongue,
Yeah, 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 yeah,
and that
exactly.
makes you taste the taste things better. So, like
Exactly,
wine kind
exactly.
of falls in that category, which is why wine is the preferred drink when you're eating with
Ah,
something, like instead of
okay,
other
okay.
stuff which you drink after eating. So that's the
Mhm.
difference.
Yeah, and here there is something also to cleanse the palate later on, which is like a schnapps. Like after you have everything, you just take in Greek you call them ouzo, and in Germany you call them schnapps, and you just take a shot of it, and it cleanses your palate again. So it's like so you have something before, you have something at the end. So anyway, French have everything small in food, like everything is like this amount, but you will get like 10 dishes,
Okay.
so that's why macaroon,
Who
but that
cleans the
that picture
dishes?
was taken in Germany.
That's
Yeah, sorry.
I
Yeah,
feel
that
sorry for
picture
the
was
dish
taken in Germany.
cleaners.
Yeah, yeah. No, they do not. No one is cleaning dishes here. They all just put it in the dishwasher. Everyone has a
Okay.
dishwasher here.
Okay. That's cool. That's cool. Makes sense. Makes sense.
Yeah,
I kind of
yeah,
like personally when I'm eating at in home, I
yeah.
use as less this as possible.
I
Like every day
understand.
uh I have only two items to clean. Three if you count a spoon. That's my
Uh-huh.
entire day's utensils.
Uh-huh. I understand. I understand that. Yeah. Yeah. So we were talking about science, right? I just keep diverting. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
So I was talking about this leaf thing. So you can do this things with. So what I work on basically is I'm working with a developer on the code who is actually a physicist, but she's also a great computer scientist as well, who
Oh,
developed this code. She's Oh my God, she's something. She's like very high functioning as a person, but she's very nice. Like as a person, human being, she's very nice and very kind. But if you talk to her, um, you cannot like she's talking to you like about 10 different things at one time. But you have to get out within that time frame what you need, and that was a challenge for me because she's extremely high functioning.
okay. I think
Okay.
she might have ADHD.
I think she has a lot of things. To be honest, I don't know how many things, but she's an amazing person. She's an amazing, and she's extremely creative with her work. I mean, I have never met anyone so creative, so like. I mean, when I met her at first, I was like, okay, I don't think I can ever work with her because she's my collaborator. And I was like, okay, maybe we are never going to make it work, or maybe we will make it work like really, really well, and we will get along together. There is not going to be like a
No in
middle work.
between.
No, no, no. So I also have to I also had to start thinking in her way so that I can, and
Communicate.
that, that that drove me a little bit nuts, to be honest. But I do not regret it, because I think the it also made me extremely curious about the work, about a lot of things in science, about the cool things. She's someone who doesn't care about deadlines. She's someone who doesn't, like, who cares? Like, I do, kind of like,
Nice.
yeah. She's like that,
Nice. Me
like,
approve.
yeah. I know you approve. I know. And to this point, I always thought, coming to this topic of geeks and stuff, till this point, because every geek thinks, I think we all kind of think a little bit like we are someone who cannot relate to a lot of people in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Sometimes, yeah, we all feel that, and
Yes.
we
Because
and there
to
are
be honest, there is
yeah,
a bit of truth to that. Like we cannot connect with someone else as easily as someone else would. So it kind of intensifies. Like it's not as bad we think it to be, but it's not that it is not there. So
yeah, yeah. It's there, and I think for me, at least for me, I can speak for myself. I think I was also kind of a little social as a person growing up. So for me, I never give out that impression too much that, okay, there is, like, I have a social communication issue, or, like, but you know as I'm growing up now more and more and understanding myself more and more, I think I think that I do not make sense to a lot of people, because a lot is going in my head. And I never realized this until my boss one day really called me and said, Patla, I know you are thinking it right. I know that everything is structured in your head. I know everything you will perform, like, at the stage, like at the final, because but you are not giving us updates. Which is, and we don't know what you are thinking. We cannot read your mind. So then I understood, okay, so this is a pattern I have, because of the okay. And I also work with someone else in the group who is exact opposite of me, like as opposite as there can be. And
you kind of care about deadlines based on what you did in school. You were good with
yeah,
deadlines, unlike me.
I was good with deadlines, because there I had some structure, because I knew that, okay, this is happening, this. Now the whole field is mine, like that. It's like there is no syllabus, there is no structure. I can do, and the person I work with, he kind of even is someone like me, and when we both work together, it gets intensified in a way, like no one has control over it anymore. My boss is sometimes like, guys, deep breath, calm down. We also need to understand what you guys are thinking, because me and her, my collaborator and me, we do not communicate with each other. I mean, we are just like, okay, you get this done. She's like, okay, Ratla, point one, point two, point three. You understood what I said, right? I'm like, yeah, okay. So we communicate like that, and no one else in the world will ever understand what we talked about. Maybe we will just have a 5 minutes conversation, and that will be like an entire month's work for me. And I know what to. So if you can connect with someone at work at that level, it's great. It's a great thing to work on. But yeah, like I said, I also always thought that there were instances in my life where I thought I understood this fact, and I understand it even more now when people point it out, that I it's a little different with me. Even my boyfriend Shohom also points this out right now, that it's because he has, so as he has been tolerating me for last 7.5 years.
Oh
um
shit! It has been 7 years. Fuck.
yeah, this year it will be 8. So it's
I'm bad
a
with
long
dates.
time. Yeah, me too. But okay. um by the way, I know your birthday was in September, and I should have wished you on
2023.
4th of September, right?
Yeah, that's right. I
Yeah.
just realized it has been 8 years since I've left. Like left Pune.
Yeah,
Like
exactly. Because we left around the same
15.
time, right? 15.
Yeah,
Yeah, we left
in
around the,
August.
yeah, exactly.
Classes started in August, but we left in July. Yeah.
I mean, the same year. And
Ah,
we
same here. Yeah.
started at the same age, and I was dating Shoham since my first year, like end of first year, so it's been almost 8 years that we are together. uh, so as he has been tolerating me that long, he is like, Ratlo, you are not exactly normal, right? Like, because in even in my relationship, I have days when I will go without, even if it is a long distance, even if it is like, I will go days without even talking. Or, I mean, it's not because I'm fighting. It's not, I do not fight with my partner generally. I do not. Uh, it's just because I'm so busy thinking about something or in my own, bubble, that
Yeah, I
I
understand.
forget. And there was a point where he had to intervene and say, if we have to make this work, you have to communicate. Otherwise, this is not. And now, so I have post-it notes now written that, okay, call Shoham once. Okay, write a message to Shoham once a day. So,
I
yeah, it's
get that
getting,
totally. This is
yeah.
probably why I have been single all my life. Like
I,
it's like putting a
completely get
completely
you.
it's like completely putting a completely different set of effort towards knowing
I
people and getting
know.
that. Like I'm good at knowing people, but I'm not gonna go out and find people to know. Like
And
I
for
know
me,
you,
once,
I'll figure you
yeah.
out. But
And for
you
me,
are the one
once
who
I,
came to me. I didn't come to you.
exactly. And for me, once I have done this job, I do not want to go out and find anyone else. And maybe, oh my God, I shouldn't be saying this on a live podcast. Sorry. Maybe because
It's
of
not
this is
live.
maybe this is the reason that maybe I'm so lazy that I don't even like feel like even making any other attempt, because long distance is hard and sometimes people give up and they're like, okay, I'll find someone nearby. I'm like, no, I already put so much effort there at first, and then I see that I do not even care that much about, it's so hard to maintain a relationship and everything. I don't know what I would have done without, if he was not putting the effort. He's doing a lot.
Perks of being a
Um,
girl.
yeah,
In this particular context, like there are pros and cons. This is
maybe.
your pro.
Yeah. No. This is. I don't think it's a girl boy issue. I think it's
No, I'm
just
talking
like
about a
he
general
tol.
consensus.
Yeah. It's just like he tolerates a lot. Let's say in terms, and he tolerates and he's okay with it. He's okay with letting me be who I am. He holds
That
out that
is
space.
important. That is
Yeah,
important.
he gives me that space. Like the entire week, he gives me the space. So I just speak with him maybe uh just on Saturday and Sunday, even if we both have time, Otherwise, we just
What
text
he
a
is
little
doing, he
bit.
might be busy too.
He's also doing his PhD there, so
Oh,
he's
he's also
also
doing PhD.
yeah, but still,
Doctor and doctor, lol.
but still, generally speaking, I should be like a little bit like more considerate. Anyway, but I have to say he really gives me the time and space. And I think this is a concept even my parents understood it, because of which it worked out. Otherwise, I would have been a really, really bad child growing up.
You had
Uh,
one advantage in that aspect though. Like you're not a single sibling.
no,
So
no, no,
it's
no.
easier for them to understand, okay, the two girls are different from each
Yeah,
other
yeah,
and
yeah,
they
yeah,
we need
yeah.
to handle it
And
differently.
they understood it, and I am really happy that they did. And I think what worked out with my parents was that they were flexible to learn along with me, as I grew up. And even they're learning it now, because it's, for me right now, it's a very different journey. It's the first time someone in their entire family has come and stayed abroad and everything, and doing this whole thing. So it's a very big, we come from Kuch Bihar, right? It's a
Yes.
small town. It's a really
Half the people haven't even heard about the place
heard
yet.
of the name, right? And then the struggle is very different from someone maybe coming out of Kolkata. So Shoham
Yeah,
always
yeah,
also
totally.
says that
Hmm.
Shoham is from South Kolkata, he where he had
Oh,
an
the posh
exposure
part.
of posh part, and also he studied in South Point all his life.
Yeah.
So you
The
can
posh
understand
part is not as important. The important part is
the
people have a,
exposure.
yeah, the exposure, correct.
And half of his family is also living abroad, and
Oh,
family members, yeah. So the exposure is very different from what we had growing up, let's say. And the struggle is different, the conversation we had around us was different. And so it's a process of growing up. And I think to that, if I now think back, I think my parents tried their best with whatever we had back in Kuch Bihar to give me that space where I could express myself as creatively as possible. Um, because of which and I think creativity is a space for me where I go in where I don't want to deal with anything else. When I want to just shut down or I just want to think, maybe so painting is something I do religiously because it's
I
like a
haven't done it much
therapeutic.
recently.
No. For me, it's like yeah. I mean, you are basically doing whatever you want, right?
Yeah.
You are creating your own company. So
Yeah. Like
you so
I haven't painted in a long time, but I kind of shifted to digital art because I have
yeah, it
it's
can
mostly
be
because it is much easier to manage. Like when I'm painting, I need to keep it somewhere. It's a physical object that I have to maintain.
right,
While
right.
digitally, I can transfer it anywhere, convert it
Mm-hmm.
into anything. So that's kind
Yeah,
of why
yeah,
I kind of shifted
yeah,
to that.
yeah. Yeah, for me,
I took
I
up
have.
writing though.
You took up writing. I
Yes.
think I read one or two of your things which you would post on Instagram. Yeah, we come back to that later. Yeah, anyway, so so for us we need that space, I think, right? Like so
Yeah.
I used to think that I am very special, someone who no one understands me, kind of a person, in the world. And then I meet this collaborator of mine here, and then my mind is like blown. I'm like, I am normal, I think I'm normal.
This is where context matters.
Yeah, so when you see something bigger than you, in a way, in a very positive way, let's say, when you see something really bigger than you, I think you begin to realize that it is a totally different story. It's a very and that I think that's why we are who we are. I think geeks are no one like alien concept or something. I think we are just some people who likes to think very deeply about some stuffs,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
kind of and which a lot of people do not think about, and
Yeah. Totally.
about stuffs that people do not think about.
Yeah.
And I
Totally.
think it has advantages of it and also some disadvantages sometimes because it doesn't help us mingle with the social. Like for me, I will immediately snap out of a conversation if I cannot connect. I mean, if there is something that I cannot learn, or I'm not, it is not something, or with someone with whom I'm not able to connect, I will immediately zone out, or I will just walk out of the conversation, or I will not engage in a conversation where I cannot. Yeah, so this has been becoming so I am becoming increasingly much more aware of these things about me, and I prefer to stay in this niche space more and more. I see myself staying here more and more.
Yeah, it makes sense. Like once you find somewhere where you feel connected, it makes
Yeah,
sense to be more connected to that place instead of trying out some other place where the
yeah.
chances of connection is even less. So it totally makes
Yeah, chances of connection is less, and also I think I care deeply about connecting on certain aspects. So even like I have been a little lucky, let's say, here at my workplace. I have people with whom during lunch breaks and all we discuss about politics, we discuss about travel, we discuss about art, architecture, and there are people who genuinely engage in that sort of conversation, most of the people. And to have those exchange of ideas, to really, like, if you don't know something, we all have our phones this day, okay, and we really google everything out there. Oh, okay, we didn't know this, and I
we
see
just
here
googled hydrophonic systems a few minutes ago.
exactly, right? So it's like I have a feeling that I am here at the space right now where or at this point in time in my life right now, where I am interacting and meeting with people on a very regular basis, let's say, who care about stuffs, who thinks deeply about stuffs, who loves to talk about things that they care about, and they're okay being that sort of a person, So yeah, in a way, I'm surrounded by geeks. I don't know if it is
It is
some.
kind of expected because when people go to research, they are not people who don't care about stuff.
Yeah,
You
Yeah,
don't
yeah, yeah.
research about something if you don't care deeply enough about it.
No,
It's an intensive work.
my experience has been there are also people like that who are just in it just for the degree, let's say, or just for
Ah,
there are people there are and
isn't it
then
harder
it
when it
becomes
comes to research? I mean, doing it just for the degree in college makes sense. Like that
yeah,
is like
I mean
90% of the people in college. But doing it for
exactly. I
PhD
mean
is not the same. It's
because
about
we are not even paid that much to be honest. Research doesn't pay you as much as an investment banking job would.
yeah, totally.
It's,
It
yeah,
depends on how successful the research is. Like no one's
yeah,
gonna pay you to find something out. Once you find something
exactly.
out, then people will fund you to find
Exactly,
more
exactly.
about it.
So right now we are at a stage where we are kind of, being trained basically. It's a training ground, right?
Huh.
To train to become expert in certain field, let's say,
Yeah, totally.
to be an expert. And yeah, there are all sorts of people, but most my experience till now has been that most are the people in academia or in research are ones who are a little different, or whom you might call geeks, who are a little different, who are, yeah, they're just different. They have their own things, their own very niche habits, their own, yeah.
It
So
kinds of
yeah, sorry.
it kinds of filters down the more you go into it. Like school is something I feel everyone should go through
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
because it gives you the base you wouldn't have otherwise, irrespective of how outdated education is. It still gives you a base, which is important.
Yeah,
Then comes up college where people are mostly doing it for the degrees or to get the job. But it's
yeah,
still like it's not that everyone who has done school is going to college. So there has been a little
yeah,
bit of filtering there. Then
yeah.
people who go out and get MA or MBA or the second degrees, that
Second degree.
is another huge filter that filters out a lot
Yeah,
of people who don't care enough. So the more
exactly.
into you go, the more filtering out of people happen,
Yeah.
and the people who stay are people who care more about it. So yeah,
Yes.
it's almost becomes a different world of its.
Exactly. Exactly. I think you described this very well, and I think this is also a part where, like, at this stage, like, for at least for the second degree, second or third degree you do in your life, if you decide to do that, boils, so this filtering thing boils down to the fact that how much you know yourself, so what you
Yeah,
actually want to do with life. So the more and more, the deeper you go, you kind of figure out, okay, maybe this is what I want, maybe this is what I don't want, maybe this is what. So it's basically you are thinking deeply about what you want, if if your purpose in life aligns with whatever you are doing right now. If it does not, you take the next step and you change it. So basically it's kind of navigating through life, I would say. Yes. And
yeah.
yeah, I mean, we are different, but I think we are doing just fine.
Yeah, totally. That I will have to agree with. There's one joke that
Yeah.
I remember. Like, there's a running joke within the negligibly small amount of community
Mhm.
that I have, that you have to be Aditya to be on the podcast. Like, all the people other than before you have been Adityas. Like, the first two episode was, I am Aditya,
There
of
was
course.
Mohan, right?
Yes, that was
Oh,
Mohan. This
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Aditya.
I know,
And
yeah. Another one?
and the second guy was Aditya Shukla. He was also Aditya.
Ah, no,
And
no,
I am
now you
also
can
Aditya.
write. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No,
So
no, now
it
you
has
can
been,
write that.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, so
But
not Aditya.
yeah. But you're still a Roy. You're Ray, but Ray
Yeah,
and Roy
I'm
is
Ray.
close
Yeah,
enough.
yeah,
See, it
yeah,
almost feels like Karan Johar should be proud of me.
yeah. Oh my God, yeah, true, true, true. The casting is in such a way that it fits. Yeah. Yeah, but I think you also know a lot about being this geek and I think you, like, I know you since school days, and if I have to go inside our class back in the days and point at one person there who is doing something entirely different from any other people in the room, it would be Aditya, right?
Yeah, yeah. And that kind of stayed even in college. Uh, yeah,
But
that did not change much, to be honest.
yeah, but I want to ask you something that for you, the journey I think has been different from me because if you remember, I had a good social group, right? Like I have an extrovert. So I do not consider myself as an extrovert, because if I
I do
deeply
though. But okay,
no, no,
continue.
I know people generally do. I know people generally do, but I think uh in a crowd, in a con I my energy kind of gets drained out a lot, and I think I recharge myself when I'm home and doing my own thing myself. And as I also, like, in my 20s, I'm realizing more and more that I'm someone who doesn't go out partying every weekend. I do not do that. I prefer just staying home, reading storybooks, or just sketching, or doing my own thing. So I am, I think I am kind of like this. And maybe growing up, I also try to a certain extent to fit in certain situation because of how the environment was. Or but for you, you were always like, okay, I'll do my own shit. I don't care about the one things. But hasn't that journey been like different? Like I think you also faced a lot more uh criticisms, or a lot more how do I call it, uh, judgments from people because of who you were. Did you ever feel like that?
I did. The difference is, firstly, I think maybe you have developed this introversion side more now than you were.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, maybe as I'm knowing myself
I'm not
better or
talking about
something.
partying and stuff. That's not
Yeah,
something you
yeah.
would do
No,
even back then. But
no, no, no.
you used to be outreaching. Like I'm,
Yeah,
I don't reach out to people. I
yeah,
talk to
yeah,
I. It's usually people reaching out to me. Other
yeah,
than when someone needs help or something. That other than
yeah,
that, it's
yeah,
usually people reaching out to me.
yeah,
Like um, I have a weird thing with people. Like I'm good with people. I'm good with connecting with people per se, like from their side. Like people
yeah,
connect with me pretty easily, and it's
yeah.
mostly because I like to try to figure out people. I have a thing about that. Like
Yeah. The
I can't control
psychological,
it. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I understand. I understand.
I
Even
kind of
I have that. I also cannot control it, but it's annoying sometimes because I then I will keep thinking too much about it, and yeah, it lose out of control
yeah.
sometimes. Yeah.
So yeah, that does get out of control of it.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, so I'm really good with figuring people out,
Mm-hmm.
and people usually don't meet with people who understand who they are.
Yeah, 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 because they want to have kind of like a facade,
Not just
kind
a
of
facade. Like people might have facades, but people don't have facades because they don't want to connect. They have facades, they have masks because they want to fit in. But
yeah.
to be able to connect with someone, they need to have someone who can see through that mask. And that's
Mm.
something I'm somewhat naturally good at doing. So
Yeah,
people
yeah,
connect with
yeah.
me very easily. But
Uh-huh.
but since I can see through it, they become pretty uh, in general, like there are exceptions, in general, people become very similar to each other. So,
Uh,
like,
uh,
although they are connecting very easily with me because I can see
you
through them,
could, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
can't get the, I
I
can't, yeah, I
understand. I
can feel the
understand.
return because
Uh-huh.
I know that they don't understand anything about me. So that
Mm-hmm.
becomes a bit difficult. It's not something
Yeah.
people can notice.
Mm-hmm.
Like people in general can't notice that. Like I'm good at
Mm-hmm.
making. I'm not even trying to make sure they don't notice it. I don't have to try. I just know they won't be able to notice it. So that's a little bit of a barrier that I have,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
has always been there. But the
Uh-huh.
difference is, I have always been like comfortable at being weird. Like I didn't give a shit what people think.
Hmm.
You kind of pointed that out. So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
something I have been comfortable with, surprisingly.
Yeah.
But
Since a
that,
very young age.
I have,
Surprisingly, since a very, very young age.
yeah, I have. And the funny thing is, like when you are a bit weird, like when you
Yeah.
are very weird, and you find someone doing similar things but in a lower level, but for
Yeah.
them they are weird because they might be weirder than the people around them. So that
Yeah.
becomes a very weird position. Like I see people calling themselves weird, and
Hmm.
I say, you are not weird, I am weird. Like
Exactly.
the difference in level is way too staggering. But I can see
Yeah.
that they're weirder than people around them. So I
Yeah.
understand, okay, I can see why they call themselves weird, but I'm not
Exactly.
calling you weird.
You know, so back in India, because I always was surrounded by people I grew up with, like when you are in Kuchbihar, it's a small place. You are always going to school, then you are, even if you go to college, you come back in the holidays, meet the same people. So I kind of grew up with friends who never really considered me weird, to be honest, because I grew up with them. And it was very normal for, I think, my weirdness when I was young was normal for people around me somehow.
I
Somehow, I
don't think
don't
you were weird though.
exactly right. You wouldn't think that, right?
Yeah, I don't think you were.
Now,
Like, I
when
know you are
I
a geek. Like, that's
yeah, yeah,
like, I could see that you were not average. That's
yeah,
something I could see even back in school, but I wouldn't call it
yeah.
weird.
No, but this weird thing. But when I am here and I started my entire life, from scratch in a different country, I'm going out, meeting with people. Even my friends, they're like, Ratula, you have some weird stuff about, you have your things, right? So I was being pointed out this by, I think, almost everyone I met, and they're like my really good friends. I mean, I hang out with them all the time and everything, and they're like, you are a little weird, right? I'm like, I didn't know that. So
But
this is a
I have been so out of touch with social norms for so long that people
yeah,
has
yeah,
always accepted, okay, you are weird. I'm like, yeah, I'm weird.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
For
we are fine.
you, for you, you maybe found it out when you were 5 or something. For me, maybe I found it out when I was 25. So so so
It's still five
the
though.
yeah, it's 5. I mean, better late than finding out at 50 or
Yeah,
55.
yeah, true.
So I mean this. And this is something I have been repeatedly being said that okay, you do not, you are someone who likes to do stuffs your way. So because I was really not this person back in, I don't know. I was like pretty much like,
Maybe because
bang,
you
bang,
didn't
bang,
have
bang,
your
bang.
space. I feel it's maybe because you didn't exactly have your space back in there.
Yeah, I would say so. And I also
Because
think
I didn't have either.
yeah, because now that I think back, because I also know the education system here a little bit, and I really don't think that Indian education system was maybe the right one for me. Honestly,
The
though
Indian education system is very outdated.
though I'm very grateful for whatever I have learned there, though I'm very grateful for everything that happened there, education wise. But I don't think I got to express myself as much, or I was nurtured as much as I could have been, which I'm here being nurtured like all the time, where my thoughts, my creativity, I can express that into my work. I can express that into my research, and I can have my own stand, and I can have my own say, and there are people who support me. So this is something very different, and maybe because of this, my weirdness actually comes up now
Yeah, that
more
might be
and
the
more.
case. That
Yeah,
might be
yeah,
the case. It
and
can make
then
sense, to be honest. It
yeah,
makes sense.
yeah. So the personality development, I think, happened greatly after I shifted here. And the one aspect is I have been open to learning. Like I have been very, very open to
You have been
learning.
curious like
Yeah,
all
yeah.
along. I think that's
I mean,
something you need to be a geek. Like geeks are curious people.
yeah,
That's how
we
you
are
become a
curious,
geek.
right? I also have noticed something about geeks. Like, these are not people. Yeah, we have our ego. Everyone has their ego. We also want people. I also want people to come to me, and I won't go behind, someone. I mean, I have this thing. I have it. I always have it. Not proud of it, but I cannot help it you know but I think we are also people, when we are being criticized or we are being criticized about something, we become curious about the statement, right? We become a little bit like, oh, I didn't think of it, I would be like, oh, okay, it's a good point. But I can come up with a better solution than you are telling me right now. Or if I even have it at that point, I will just say it. I'll like, yeah, you are right, but you know what? Will make better sense. So, so it's not like having one. up another person. It is, I don't think our aim is that, we do not want to have it, but it is something which we cannot help. And I do not know how to explain this to people.
I understand, but look, that is somewhere I kind of differ from you. You
Mhm.
always had that. You always had that one-upping
I,
thing,
I
and it was
think
a bit irritating. Although I could get it.
I know. No, for me, I know. I have even people here saying it. But really, if I really honestly say you, I do not do it as like a competition, or I'm not doing it as a thing. I just,
I know. It's
it
like
is
it's a
just a
natural
thing.
part of you. I understand.
Yeah, it's an extension of me. It's like, okay, because in my head I also have 10 different ideas going on at the same time. Like, it's a mess in my head. If someone even looks in my head, it's like,
Not a
it's not.
nice place to be.
No,
Not
no,
for
no,
me
no.
either.
No, 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 no. I don't want anyone to look inside my head, but it doesn't mean I am not organized. I am really, I mean, everything is there, but everything has its own room, Let's say
Ah,
everything has its own space and room, but in that room, what is happening, no one should know. It's just anyway. um but this is a thing that I often got misinterpreted in a lot of scenarios where they took it like a little bit, maybe like an arrogance, or something, that okay, she thinks she knows better. It's not like I want to tell you that. It's like, it's an idea which I have, and it comes very naturally to me sometimes while you are speaking to me. And maybe there are instances where I should stop myself and not speak up. It's better for the entire situation, but it just comes out.
yeah, I know. I
Yeah,
know. That's something I feel like I'm a bit better at. Like,
yeah, I think so. You would keep
although
it to yourself.
yeah, I'm good at keeping it to myself. I'm like a bit too good at doing that. In fact, like when it comes to my parents, especially my mother, she has this complaint that she doesn't know what I do. And I understand where it is coming from. Like, to be honest, I don't think anyone knows what I'm doing.
Exactly. I wanted to just say you that, but every time someone asks me, I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to judge Aditya because I think I know, like, what kind of a personality he is. So whatever he's doing, he will figure something out. So that is my very standard answer to everyone who's asking.
Oh yeah, that is true. That is true. And
Yeah, yeah,
I also have a bit of arrogance with me, like which I know that my arrogance is something it doesn't show much because I'm good at controlling it. But I know I have a bit of arrogance. It's like, let's say someone is telling something to me, I'll take it up. Like, I have no problem. I'll have a discussion and all. But I'm not gonna do it just because someone said that this
yeah,
should
yeah.
be done. I'm gonna think about it. I'm
If you
gonna
are
see.
convinced, yeah,
Yeah,
right,
I'm,
right.
I'm gonna counter it internally that is it better though? If it does end up being better, okay, yeah, you are right, I'm gonna do it. But usually it
Yeah,
doesn't end up being better. Usually I have something that works up better and I'm gonna do
exactly,
that.
right. so
And
so
people
I
will
think
be like, you're arrogant, why are you asking? I didn't ask. But
I
maybe
think
I'm
this.
even when I'm asking, I'm usually asking because I want to cross check and see that
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
whether I'm right or wrong. But usually I end up being right and I end up doing my way. So that can be seen as a bit of an arrogance. And I understand that can be seen as arrogance.
I think we both have kind of the same kind of a problem, but our way of expressing is different,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
is
yeah.
completely true.
Yours is like you will be trying to counter it right then,
Yeah,
which
right
looks
then,
like
right
you're
then.
one upping
Yeah, yeah.
them. And
But
that can be
I'm not
irritating.
one-upping anyone. It's just my
I know.
thoughts, and it comes out better. And
Yeah,
you do
I
the
know.
internal processing exactly. So
Yeah.
I think it also kind of really boils down to how much. So I think I don't know if it is about geeks or if it is about some people. I don't know how to say this,
It's
but
just a label. It labels are for
label. Yeah,
generalizing
yeah,
and making
exactly. A
making
little.
concepts easier.
Yeah. So exactly. So for some people, I think we can very objectively see a thing, taking the emotion out of the situation, just objectively look at something and say that, okay, this person is saying something, I'm saying something. Okay, so in my mind, how it works is I'm very good at making flowcharts in my mind, you know. So
Oh, I am too. Nice.
yeah, it is something I have. I cannot tell how it happened. I cannot tell when it happened. I do not know. But in my mind, I can connect very well. Okay, so if it is something that other person is saying, even if I personally might not like that person, even if something I don't have, if that person is making sense, then more sense than me, more sense than the arguments which I have, there have been instances where I let my ego go, and I'm like, okay, you are right, you take the upper hand at this. There have been instances like
Yeah,
that.
it happened.
It happened.
I know that because
But
I've been that person once in a while.
yes, I know. Yes, you have been that person. Uh,
which is
we
why
have
which is
history.
which is why I told you that I know that you are not doing this to one up someone. I did notice that,
Yeah,
but I
yeah,
did
yeah.
still like even though I personally know that you are not doing that for that, it
Right.
still feels a bit irritating once in a
I
while. So I
know,
can
I know, I know, I
understand why
know.
an average person can find it very irritating, unlike me, who
So, so,
understands and
so,
still finds it irritating.
so imagine how many people I have pissed off in my entire life, just
Oh,
being,
I know you.
just, just
Yeah,
being
yeah.
me,
I know,
just
I know.
me being me. Yeah,
I,
I'm pretty much sure.
I know. I'm very aware of that because see what happens is, as I said, like I'm very good at making people feel comfortable for some reason.
Right,
Actually, I know
right.
why it is, but anyway, let's not
Uh,
go there.
uh,
But since I make people feel comfortable, because I actually care, like there's a weird thing about me caring and not caring. Like
yeah, yeah,
on the surface, it might look like that I don't give a shit because there's a lot of things I really don't give a shit about.
yeah, yeah.
And the other
You
thing is,
cannot give a shit about everything in life, right?
oh yeah,
If I give,
exactly.
if I start giving shit about everything in life, then who will do the thinking? I have to also think,
Yeah, exactly. But when I cared, I do care. Like it's not like that I'm caring, I'm pretending to care. So it kind of makes people feel comfortable. So I
Mhm.
know a lot of people who had a lot of issue with you in a lot
Of
of phases
course,
of life. So yeah, you're
of
correct.
course. I mean, it's not like I did. Yeah, I sometimes felt also at some point back in school. I also felt at some points that yeah, I think I'm a person who just like doesn't have an emotional aspect to it, or maybe just like just does whatever she wants with her life. Like doesn't care about how people will be impacted by it. Doesn't
You
care about.
you have been a bit bossy though.
I know,
I
I
don't
know.
know. I don't know how it is now because now you're working under people who are actually more qualified than you. But
Now it's
in
totally
school,
different story.
yeah,
Trust
I
me.
I know. But in
Now,
school and college, you have been quite bossy.
yeah. Bossy is something. I would
I'm using
say like
simpler terms. Like
I
I'm
know,
not.
I know, I know, I know, I know. No, I would like if I have to reframe the word, I would say that it's something I feel if I feel very strongly about something in any topic. If I feel very strongly about something, I do not. Generally I do not think about how others would react to it, or I generally do not, and it is also maybe an area which I should work on more of these people handling issue. I have been saying that I should take a little bit of external coaching help for handling people, because I cannot be a diplomatic person, and at job you might need to be a little diplomatic sometimes.
I am surprisingly diplomatic because I'm telling you why it's surprising. I'm someone who will tell you what it is. I'm not gonna
Mhm.
sugarcoat. I don't sugarcoat anything. If I think you are doing wrong, I'm gonna say it on your face. But I'm good at phrasing it in a way that you won't be
Yeah,
angry about it.
I am terrible at
Yeah, you
phrasing
are.
stuff. I am
Yes, you are.
so
So is
so
my
so.
mother.
Yeah, I know,
She's
right?
bad at it too.
And I think it's also a little bit of no. It is not a woman thing. No,
No,
no, no,
it's not a
no,
woman thing. It's not a
no,
woman
no,
thing.
no, no,
It's
no.
not a woman
No.
thing.
Now that I think it's not a woman thing. Yeah, but I'm terrible at phrasing, and my first reaction to anything that goes, like this, I would be like, "Oh my God, you are annoying me to the extent of I don't know what." I'm going to punch punch on your face. This was like my general reaction. But now, I have been interacting with so many people who are like, because at the end of the day, someone needs to also get the work done. And if that is also me, I cannot keep giving that sort of energy to them, to those toxic things coming at me all the time. I cannot give so much energy. So now I'm at a point like, oh, okay, you're saying something. Okay, if you have a problem, please report it to my employer, and he can convey it to me. I'm sorry. I'm okay. So because I also made the
That actually
mistake
is a
here.
good strategy.
Yeah,
Diverting it is
I
a good
have
strategy.
learned. I had to learn it basically
Yeah, I
because
understand.
things were piling up to an extent. So initially, I was pretty accommodating, let's say, because I was the junior most, and to getting to know the stuffs and do the
Surprising.
things. And yeah, because it was a very different hierarchy level,
I understand.
and and I went to an extent of being, let's say, too accommodating.
Okay,
Mm. And that kind
I
of
feel
fucked
that.
stuffs up a little bit. And then I was then back again, I was like, okay, I should be back again being the Ratul I was. I, if I cannot be too bossy, if I cannot be too accommodating, I have to find a middle ground which is diverting. Divert.
That is a very corporate strategy,
Which
but
I
it
had
works.
to learn. It is, I think, a very big part of your professional life, and it is also, I think, hard for people like us to learn it because for us, I think we would be so focused on the work. Like for me, at least, I'm so focused on the work aspect of it that I really forget. I literally forget that there are expectation or deadlines of other people attached to it, or there are other people attached to it. Let's say,
Yeah, yeah, I
who will be
understand that.
affected.
That is
Affected. It.
something I'm still not very good at with.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah,
still
yeah.
something I suck with. I have a thing about when I'm handling something, I try to be like, although it's not very healthy, I try to be fully responsible about it. Like if something comes up and maybe it's not something that I personally don't have to take care of, I
Yeah.
my go-to strategy, which is a dumb strategy, but I can't help it, is to try to handle it myself instead of
I
passing out to
tried
someone
doing
else.
that. No, I
I
tried doing that, but I failed miserably because I was trying to do too many things at once, and it really fucks up with your brain. And it
It
is
does,
not
and
good.
I still suck at it. It does, which is
Yeah,
why I try to put up barriers in the early phase. I have a I have a tag about being irresponsible, which I don't agree with. I really don't agree with because I understand where it is coming from.
I have a new tag, by the way, for me. I'll tell you later.
Okay,
You
we'll get
complete
to
it.
that next. So anyway, I have two tags which I own, although I don't agree with. Which is I have a tag of being lazy. I kind of use it myself to make fun of situations. I make fun of me being lazy as well, but actually I
Yeah.
am not. There is a little more layers to that, which I don't. I understand people don't get it, and I don't mind people not getting it.
And Mhm.
Another is me being irresponsible, which is something I don't agree with, and that is something I don't use a lot because I really don't agree with it. But I understand where people are coming it from. So the
Hmm.
thing is, and it's similar with both cases.
Hmm.
Like for example, for me being lazy, the thing is I try to avoid stuff by finding
Hmm.
shortcuts so that I can get the outcome done without going through the hassle of going reaching to the outcome. For
I have an
example,
example. I have an
okay, you
example
can give
of
the
this,
example.
of you,
Yes, yes, okay,
back in our childhood days. I remember
okay,
this. You remember we used to have computer tuition together in class 10 at my house,
yes,
Randeep sir?
Randeep sir,
Yeah, I
good
remember.
guy. I still like him.
He's a really good guy. I also still like him. Uh, I remember you used to come there late every day. You were late, of
Oh,
course.
that is
Uh,
something that is a problem I still have, and I
yeah, yeah,
completely.
yeah.
This is something I
No,
completely
no,
admit. I'm
this
really
we
suck
will
at
also
it.
get. This is something
Okay,
also we will get. Wait, one thing at a time. you
okay.
know and I remember Tisha with Randeep said, okay, the late thing, everything is fine. You just maybe woke up from sleep, and we are all sitting there, solving this code that he's trying to write. You come late. You were sleeping half of the time, and then you write the entire code in 2 lines, and we are writing like 2 pages of code, and you just write the whole code in 2 lines, and then you submit it. And on this side, it's like, how did you do it? And then he's trying to figure out. Oh my god, I still remember this, and I was like, what the fuck? I had to think so much about this code, and he wrote it in 2 lines. I, I still- oh my god, do you remember?
Yes, I do. I did not remember it that vividly, but it's coming
No, I
back to
have
me now. It's
I
coming
have
back to
very
me
vivid
now.
memory of it. And it has happened multiple times. It's not like it has happened
It
one time.
happens. I still use that strategy. So,
Hmm.
as my example would be, see, I don't like, nobody likes to clean dishes. Like, it's not something that anyone, I don't think anyone
I'm
likes
the
cleaning it.
laziest person in the world.
Yeah, no one likes cleaning dishes. So, people would make use this and avoid cleaning it if they were lazy. I don't
Yeah.
do that. My strategy is avoiding using as much dishes as possible. So I can be lazy by cleaning less dishes, but I'm not being unclean. The dishes are clean as fuck. Like every other bachelor guy I know, I'm probably one of the cleanest guy. Which is surprising. People would think that, oh, he's lazy, how he's clean and stuff.
You're just minimalistic, let's say.
Yeah, I just try. My being lazy strategy is reducing the work itself. So the
Hmm.
example you gave about the coding, the thing is, writing is hassle. So my
I know.
thinking about it,
Thinking about it
being
and doing it
concise,
in
and
lines.
then putting it down in a small part. So I'm reducing the writing part by actually thinking about it. I'm not just doing anything.
But Aditya, do you know this is something I have? I think in back in India, I didn't realize it that much. But this is exactly what I'm doing at my work right now, which is also pissing a little bit other people off, and they're like, she came so late at this project, and she is trying to show off. I'm not showing off to anyone. I'm just acting a little smartly, and I'm not showing off. Oh
Yeah,
my
yeah.
god, this is so
So,
funny.
so this is what people, but most people don't see through the first layer. So
Yeah,
most people
yeah,
think that I'm lazy. Like even my mother thinks
exactly.
that I'm lazy, because
No,
for her,
whenever now your mother tells you you are lazy, you should give this example of this computer to you. Do you know what I used to do back then? Because this is an example I remember so much because I think I also understood what you were doing even then, back then. I just didn't know how to verbalize it. And now when I think about it, it comes back to me and I'm like, oh shit, I'm also doing the same thing. And
I
that
was
means he was
ahead of
doing
my
it
time.
back then. Yeah, yeah. And now I understand that, this is what he was doing. Now I get it.
I don't have excuse for being unpunctual though. That is something I really suck with even now. So I have just come to peace with that. Okay, this is a problem I don't think I will be able to solve. I'll have to find my way around in that.
The
So yeah,
unpunctual thing, Aditya,
you are in
let's be
Germany though.
honest. I'm in Germany and I'm terribly unpunctual here. In
I
India,
don't think
I
how
was very
bad are you
punctual.
do in Germany, because Germans are
I
very
think
punctual. I,
I know, and I cannot hear the end of it. Like I cannot. I don't know how many times I have to hear it.
if you
Uh,
can be unpunctual there, I
then
would be just.
imagine you.
I think they
Then
will
imagine
block my
your.
passport. You are not allowed here. Go back to India.
If I'm unpunctual, you have no idea how many times I've heard about this. Anyway, uh, uh, I remember your unpunctual thing. I think it was Ronjun's maths tuition, you know? And some days you would just come there with your, because you had a camera, right, back then, like a
Yes.
newly acquired camera.
Yes.
And
Seriously.
you had to cycle around and take pictures of
I still
birds
cycle
and,
though.
okay, good. And you would just go around and take pictures and then come in the tuition like maybe half an hour late or 1 hour later. So this is something I know, but this is also something I I don't generally have people. like problem with people being unpunctual, because maybe no, I have problem with people being unpunctual when there is a set time, and sometimes I understand I have to respect their commitments, I have to respect their timing, I have to respect this, that. Those things are okay with me, those things are fine. But in general, if someone is like 5-10 minutes late, or I don't see things being a huge issue, or I would
It's not 5-10
understand.
minutes for me though, unfortunately. But yeah,
This
yeah,
is
thanks.
maybe an hour or something. I understand. Yeah.
But the
Well,
thing,
again,
but thing is, like, I'm not unpunctual with deadlines. Like,
yeah.
if I give an example, let's say there's a project that I'm working on, and I need to submit it on Friday. Let's say,
Mm,
and let's say I'm working with a team, and the team is working around 9. Let's say they start at 9 a.m. every day. So
mm.
I will never be able to start at 9 a.m. Like, I will
You
probably
know,
start.
at your time, basically, right?
Yeah, so I will never start at 9 a.m. I have tried, I have failed, I have given up. So I know I'm not gonna start at 9 a.m. But it will be ready before Friday. So
I
that's the thing.
know exactly. This is exactly my strategy, and oh my God, I can relate so much with this, because right now I'm facing a situation at work where someone is saying that, oh, so my new label is being disorganized. Okay,
Oh, this is something
about
I
my
never had. You were a bit disorganized though. I'm
no, but
telling you how. Like, it's relative. Like, it
hmm.
is relative. I won't say that you are dirty or anything. You are
No,
organized enough.
disorganized in the sense, working sense, not like spaces. Yeah, what were you saying?
Yeah, no, no, no. I understand. Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you're not, you are not
I,
someone.
let's say I have organized mess. Okay, I have mess, but
Yeah,
those
yeah,
that mess is organized.
yeah,
I
yeah,
don't know
yeah.
how to explain this. Okay,
No, no, no. Yeah,
and
that can be a good term. That can be
yeah,
a good
yeah,
term.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
an organized mess.
yeah.
So even in working,
When we
yeah,
say, like, when you say the term unorganized, you're not the person who comes to mind.
no, 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 no.
But you are
But
also
I'm
not
messy.
someone. Yeah, but you are still
I'm
messy. Like,
messy.
you are still not
I'm
some.
still messy. I'm
Yeah,
always
that's what I
messy.
was.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that's a part of me. That's like a personality.
yeah,
I'm messy, but that mess is organized.
yeah, yeah. You know how to work with that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's not
I've
like.
been working with it all my life.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Totally. I, on the other
Basically.
hand, is quite organized. Like, really.
Yeah,
One of the part. This is
for
one
you,
of the.
even all your mosquitoes. Do you remember? Even the
Yeah, I
mosquitoes
had
were
to
in
drop
a
that
different,
project though. But yeah.
yeah, in a different matchbox. So like, I would never be this person.
Yeah, yeah.
I can never be this person.
I have a funny story about it. I'm not sure if I have told it before, but just in case. Like, back in college when we were staying in hostel, there was one time when there was a raid with, the electric kettles, electric cookers,
Yeah,
were
yeah, yeah,
they were
yeah.
not
Oh my
allowed.
God, our hostel. Now that I think of it, it is very funny. But yeah, at that time it was not. Yeah.
Okay. So they were not allowed. Everyone knew they were not allowed. Everyone
But
still
we
used it.
still had it.
Yeah, everyone had it. The wardens themselves didn't care much.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
only cared when there were some instructions from higher ups. So there
yeah.
was one such incident, and there was raid, and they were checking every room for those stuff, and they were confiscating it. Not like they were taking it forever. They would keep it. When the students would go for home during the holidays, they would take it with them, keep it back at home, and come back. All the most
Mm-hmm.
people took it back home and brought it back home, back
Mm-hmm.
from home, uh, as things go. So, like, similarly, they came to my room. My kettle was left in a very simple hiding spot. Like, we had a everyone had a trolley because for traveling
Yeah, yeah,
home
yeah.
and back.
You had it in
I
the
also
trolley.
Yeah, I also had a trolley. So I put my kettle in the back, under the bed, and put the trolley in front of it. It is a very simple strategy. Anyone can find it out. It's like you
Yeah.
just have to look.
Just remove the bag.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just remove it. Like, okay, there's a bag. There might be something behind it. Find it. But the first thing they would check was the wardrobe. So
Yeah, yeah.
my
Because
room.
we mostly people had it in the
Yeah,
wardrobe,
mostly
right?
people
Yeah,
had it
yeah.
in wardrobes. So my roommates also had their own kettles, and they hid it in wardrobe, and their wardrobes were messed. Like, they were wardrobes where what a bachelor guy's wardrobe looks like.
Yeah, yeah,
It was mess. It was complete mess. And they searched their wardrobes. They removed a few clothes, find it out, took it, confiscated it. They came to my wardrobe. They opened it. They were surprised. They were like fascinated. They were like, "Oh, your wardrobe is so organized." So the thing is,
Heaven.
yeah, like 5 people. They had a group of 5 people. Not entire 5 people did not come and check. She would wait in the door. She would check, report. If needed, they would come. So the 2 people were checking. They were so fascinated. Called everyone else. See, his wardrobe is organized. They were fascinated. We had a completely different
Oh
conversation. They didn't
my God. They
even look
forget
under.
the
They didn't look in under my bed. They were like, his wardrobe is organized. If the
that
kettle
means
was there,
he's like
the kettle would be here. The kettle is not here. The kettle is nowhere. He doesn't have a kettle.
oh my
They
God.
went away. They praised me and went away.
This is so funny. Oh my God, oh my God. You kind of remind me a little bit of Sheldon, from Big Bang Theory in a good way.
You have pointed that out, and I did check up Sheldon, and I understand a
Yeah.
few connections.
Few connections.
He's over
Yeah, yeah,
exaggerated character for
yeah, yeah,
fun,
of
of
course,
course.
of
So
course. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah. But in organization and things like that, you understand, right?
yeah. And the other thing is about, oh yeah, coming back to being lazy thing. So I eat I eat in home 2 times in a day. So like eat in the morning, which is
Yeah, yeah.
coffee, eggs, and in the afternoon, which is lunch, rice, and some other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't wash after having breakfast.
Hmm.
I keep them together. It's just 3 utensils. So I keep
Yeah,
them
yeah.
together. I come back at night after cycling and dinner, and then I wash it. So
Hmm.
that's something my mother doesn't like, and most
Oh
people
my
would not
God.
like. They would
Do
like,
not tell auntie that I
oh,
also
she knows.
keep it for over a day or something
Oh shit,
sometimes. Yeah,
that
just
doesn't
checking.
happen with me. Okay. That doesn't happen with me though. Like I wash it every day, but
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not
yeah.
gonna wash it in the morning. I'm not gonna wash
Mhm.
it in the afternoon. I'm gonna
Yeah,
wash it at
because
night, not before
it's
that.
fine.
You
It's
cannot
fine.
make me wash it before that. But
I'm
that
also
is,
very particular about some things. It's not being lazy. I mean, yeah, for other people, it's because my mother also says, you don't do this because you are lazy, But I think
exactly,
lazy is a
exactly,
very over generalized term.
exactly.
It is not lazy. It's just that in my mind, I have some priority tasks which are at a different priority level, and I have to attend to that. And on the top priority level is I have to think. Okay, I have
You
to
have to,
think about anything and everything that is happening to me that is ever there, that or maybe I will just look around in the room and I will find a postcard from a travel and I'm like, this is a postcard. I had to post this in my scrapbook. Okay, I will do it now. I mean, and my entire mind is gone there, and I forget that I had to do something and I initially had to do something else. So I don't know how to explain this, but this is I think how our mind works. For some people, it is very much like, okay, this job, this is the task. This task needs to be completed. This is the task. No, I will also go from point A to point B like the other person will go to, but I will go in my way. So that is not from my experience, at least in my workplace, I have seen that that is not a lot of people are comfortable with.
yeah,
That
I know.
is not, and that is where I face a lot of resistance sometimes, even if
Same
I'm
here.
performing, even if I'm overperforming, even if I
Yeah,
am
I
doing
faced that too.
great. Yeah, you will face criticisms because of being you being you.
Yeah,
Uh, but I think also, so it's such a strange thing to explain. But now my strategy to deal with it, at least at work, because I have learned a little bit about how to handle stuff professionally as well. So my strategy is because these people, the other set of people, they get anxious. They are
huh.
so different from us
That
that
does
they
happen.
kind of
That does happen.
that
And
they
that is
get
something I
anxious.
feel very bad about my parents for.
Yeah, but I cannot help it. I cannot help
Exactly. Like I
that they are
understand,
being
I feel
anxious.
bad for them, but I
But I
can't
cannot
be
help
somebody
it.
else.
I think my parents have reached to a point where they had to accept it.
Yeah. That's
With
something
me.
I have been a bit jealous about you for a
Yeah,
long
yeah,
time.
yeah, yeah. Because you have no idea how much I fought at home. You have no idea how
You did?
terrible for me it. Yeah, yeah. At least during, like, say, after 10th at my home, I
Ah,
really
seriously,
had
I
to.
never felt that.
There were a point. Yeah, I don't tell it openly very much, but there have been points where I
No, I'm
have been
disappointed
like,
because I usually can see through stuff like that, but I didn't.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
disappointed in
There
your
were
daughter too.
discussions. There were discussions. I mean, maybe not like how other parents would do it, like put them down or something, like literally put their hands down and I know this is what you have to do. But at least I have had issues, I would say mostly between me and my father. My mom was always like on my side, let's say. She was
Now
someone
it
who
makes
kind
a
of
little bit of
understood.
sense.
Yeah, 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 yeah. She always understood me as a person and kept it, And over time, my dad also did it. Like reluctantly, he also did it. And by the time I was in college, he was cool with it. But those 2 years or 3 years of transformation, it was a bit of a struggle. But I never cared because I was like, you know, if one of the parents is fine, the other will be okay. That was my
That actually
strategy.
is
That is the
true.
strategy.
That
That is the
actually is true.
strategy.
That actually is true in most households. That actually is true.
Yeah,
Now I
yeah.
get it. I didn't realize it because I thought that you were talking about both of them.
No, no,
Now
no, no,
that
not
you,
both of them. No,
yeah,
no, no, not
now
both
it
of them.
makes
My
sense.
mom was like
Now I'm not
mostly pretty
disappointed
chill.
on me.
Yeah,
Now
yeah,
I'm
no,
not
no, no.
disappointed with me. I didn't miss it then.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think that you
Uncle has a straightforward way of life, as I
very
have seen. Like,
straightforward, very, very
see,
straightforward.
you have people have a general view that you do this, then that. This is the way
Exactly.
things should be. Uncle
This
has
that
that kind.
go. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah,
Because he
uncle has
had
that
that
kind
sort of
of
an
thing.
upbringing, and
Yeah,
he also, stayed at the same job until he retired. He stayed at the same place, never took a promotion or anything. Stayed at did things. So it was a very linear way of
yeah,
looking. And I think I mean, with my sister, she just gave in like to whatever parents said, like completely. And I was the rebel one, so I was like, no,
yes.
you do not do it this way. I do my way. No, no, no. And my dad, there was a point where he was getting irritated because I can understand where it comes from. I think you will also relate to this with your parents as well, that we are challenging some of the generational kind
Yeah,
of things that they're
yeah,
used to.
totally.
We are challenging the norms.
Yeah,
We are
exactly.
come with you. I think you are challenging it on a even like on a different level than me. For me, at least right now, I joke about this with my parents and I tell them, you guys can at least go and tell to a function, okay, my daughter is like doing her PhD and stuff
No,
because
you
you
have
guys.
one advantage. They don't have to say PhD. They don't have to say anything. They just need to say that she's in Germany. People will be happy.
Exactly,
People will be
exactly,
happy.
exactly. So
They
I
don't
say
have to
this to them.
understand anything about what you do.
I
They
know,
will
I
hear,
know, I
okay,
know.
she's in Germany, she must be doing
Germany,
good.
wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I might be a beggar in Germany.
Yeah. No,
Doesn't
and
matter.
that actually is true. Even if you don't make it there, people
Yeah,
won't
yeah,
care.
even
People
if
will say,
I don't,
oh, she's
yeah,
in Germany. That's
she
enough.
went there.
Yeah, sure.
Exactly. Even if you go, even if you are married to someone in Germany and go there, that would be enough for you to be like someone, even if you're not doing any work,
Yeah, yeah,
in
yeah.
front of their eyes, in front
Yeah,
of people's
totally.
eyes.
Yeah,
So that's what I joke right now to them and say, hey, so you guys must be pretty proud boasting about it, right? That at least she made it to the. But with you, I think the story is like the struggle is on a very different level,
yeah,
and I can understand
that's true.
because
I understand.
entrepreneurship is firstly something very new to Bengali families, I would
It's
say.
actually, it is not new when you look at it. The thing is, it's not the norm. Like,
Hmm.
even in Bengali families, Bengal has seen a lot of great entrepreneurs, but they're
Hmm.
not the norm, where
Yeah,
they're like 1 out of 100 maybe. So
yeah.
people are not that comfortable with it. And it's not just about being a Bengali, it's just that both my parents, in both their entire generation of family, everyone has had a straightforward life. So it makes it difficult for them to grasp the
To
thing.
visualize something
Yeah,
like
yeah,
this.
yes, yes. And plus they themselves don't understand it very well. I have tried to
Exactly.
explain it to them, but I realized that they don't really understand. So I have given up on that. I don't mind
Uh,
explaining, but they don't understand. So it doesn't make sense.
yeah. So even with my dad, this was the problem initially. Like I said, the time when we had a little bit of conflict, this was also the problem because he felt I am going out of whatever he has
a little bit control over, like he has control over the fact, or he has seen his friends uh, and their children being doctors, their children being engineers, their children doing things, sitting for IIT exams, sitting for NEET or something like that, so he is someone who has seen this, and he feels that is the area within which you do things. But then I challenged everything, and then I didn't sit for my medical exams. And that day, that year, even it was cancelled because of some paper leakage or something.
Oh, I
The first
remember that.
round and the second round, it happened, but by that time I was already admitted at KIT, and it would make sense.
That is the
Uh,
one part that my parents were totally okay with. Like
mm,
they also preferred medical, but that is something they have been completely okay with. That okay, there's
mhm.
no chance of him being a doctor. Engineering is fine. They're not fine with now though. They are not fine with the fact
Yeah,
that
they're not
I
fine with now,
yes,
but
but they were
initially it was
fine
fine.
with they were fine
No,
with
for me
me
it was
choosing
different.
engineering.
For me it was different. For me, they were even fine with engineering if I got into an IIT.
Oh, that was the
So
case
so
with me
so
as well. And
so
I
so so,
am a
so the
bit with,
standard.
yeah. I am at fault in that too. Like my parents
Yeah,
also wanted some government college because
yeah, exactly.
there's
Even
some
even
prestige that comes with it.
exactly.
And
Press you attached to it
yeah,
and stuff
but to be
like that.
honest, like I myself is at fault in that because back then what the thing is, I chose engineering simply because I did not want to go with medical. It's not
But
because
didn't you already get in architecture in some IIT or something in
not
BArc
I there
or
was something that I
NIT?
don't
Yeah.
I
I think you sat for the architecture exam, and I
yeah,
think you
something
cracked
like
it
that.
as well.
There was two that I cracked that mattered to my parents. One was the
Look,
architecture.
I am remembering what you cracked, and you don't remember. You might have cracked an important exam. Oh my God, Aditya.
See,
Anyway.
that's the thing. I will get back to that in a minute. Uh, One was the architect one. I remember it was something to do with architecture. I don't remember
And
the
I remember it
details.
was from a good place, either IIT or
Yes, so
NIT.
I don't
It's
think it was
something like that.
IIT because
Maybe NIT.
IIT I would have remembered. Like I'm not
Uh-huh.
that bad at it, but maybe
But
NIT. I don't.
maybe NIT. Yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
NIT.
It was
Maybe I don't remember.
something government related, as far as
Maybe
I
that
remember.
might be the case.
Hmm.
The other was naval engineering. So
Ah, okay, okay.
that is something that my mother mainly cared a lot about because
Hmm.
naval engineering means joining the navy, like not
Yeah.
as a soldier, like not as a
But
sailor,
yeah,
but
I
as an
know, no,
engineer.
no.
And
But that's such a respectful
yeah, it
job.
comes with a lot of prestige. So that's something
Yeah.
that was attractive to my parents. I didn't want that because I know once you join any army, not any security related segment, doesn't matter
Hmm.
what position you are in, you
Hmm.
fall under a lot of restrictions. You don't have
Hmm.
any freedom per se, like
Hmm.
in a lot of terms, and that matters to me. So I didn't want
Hmm.
to go there. These are the
Hmm.
two that mattered to my parents. But in general, I chose engineering just because I did not like to do medical. I still like engineering. Like I still think engineering is a good field. I
Hmm.
just don't. I have an issue with engineering academics. That is shit. But
Oh my
engineering
God, tell
itself
me
is not
about
shit.
it.
Engineering is a good field.
Yeah,
It has a
engineering
lot
is
of
an
creativity.
amazing field because there you do problem solving. You
Yeah,
learn to do problem solve, right? You have a concrete, so you have to very logically think. And I think in this is somewhere we both got a little bit lucky because we both have an engineering degree. Me in biotech engineering, and you have a different engineering degree.
I
But
do
it
have
is
the
all.
degree.
Yeah, you do have the degree. Finally, you have the degree.
Yeah,
Anyway.
it was in last year, I think. I think last year.
I'm so proud of you. But when people told me about this thing, I really, because when people are telling it that
So
about
who
this
did you hear
entire
it
thing, that
from?
I heard it from a lot of people back in.
Oh,
You have to edit this part out. You
I don't
cannot be
know. I
putting
don't care. See, I don't care
from
now.
our friend circle. I think I also don't remember the names. Like back in
Achha.
Kuch Bihar, maybe they said that you
Huh.
didn't
Achha, it might be the case. It makes sense. It makes sense because surprisingly,
because
we
from
did
them.
not meet much in.
No, maybe
Giving
one
us.
or two times. No,
Yeah,
and
I don't know why. Like it's not that it's not like that we decided not to meet. We just
no. I think we had too much going on in our life, and we were like
yeah.
just
Actually,
busy.
that's true.
And I don't even think we held any grudge. I'm like,
We
okay,
didn't
I
have
know
it.
he's here.
That was
I
all
like,
back in school.
yeah.
That
No, no,
was
no,
not
no, no.
that big of a period. That's like a
But
few
now I
months
think
at most.
about it. Yeah.
It was
No, no.
funny for me even back then, and it's even more funny
No,
for me
it's
now.
funny for me now.
I know it wasn't
Not
funny
back
for
then.
you then. I know
It
you
is.
you got a bit serious with it,
Uh, I
and
turned a little
actually
more cooler.
yeah, and a bit of the reason behind you getting serious is because I did not take it seriously.
Yes, and that was irritating me even more. I was like,
I know.
what the fuck
Yeah,
are you doing?
you don't like not being taken seriously.
Yes,
You have this thing
yes,
about it.
yes,
I
yes,
don't care, and you care
yes.
about that. Yeah.
I have
That
an
was the
issue with
main
it.
reason you got serious about it. The thing
Yeah.
itself wasn't
I mean,
serious.
the thing itself was not even bothering me that much. I don't care.
I know, I know.
For me, it was more like, how
That
the
why am
fuck
I
is
not
he
taking
so
it
cool?
seriously?
And why the fuck is he still going on about it? Anyway, doesn't matter. What were we talking about? That your degree, yeah. So when people kind of told me about it, that it's getting delayed for him or something, whenever I came to know about it, and my first reaction to it was, I don't think that will happen to Aditya. I mean, there must be, he must be just sleeping and not going to exam because he
Oh,
doesn't
that did
feel like
happen, but
it.
anyway,
Yeah. I just thought in my head that
that did
he's
happen.
doing it.
I did not fail. I got debarred.
No, I know that. It's of course I know that you didn't. And I was, my thinking was, he is not actually bothered.
Oh, I wasn't.
you know
The only reason I did not drop out was because I felt like
the
that, okay,
investment was all,
yeah,
yeah,
this
I
is
understand.
something, at least this is something they deserve to get out of
Yeah,
it. I'm not
yeah.
pursuing the career, so I should at
This
least
is
give them
not,
something.
I think your degree was not for you already learned what you had to learn
Yeah, it wasn't for
within
me.
that time. Yeah,
Yeah,
it was, I understand that.
I did not drop out just because I wanted to give
Yeah,
them
no,
something.
no. And imagine having a concept of dropout to for Indian parents. I mean, imagine that's like a
It kind
scandal.
it kind of got popular now, not for the parents, of course.
Really?
Not for parents. It's still not
Hmm.
popular for parents. The concept
No,
is
no, but
popular
in
in
India,
India.
in India,
It got popular after Pictures.
the teachers.
I saw
Okay,
the
okay.
show. It's really overrated, but it got
I
popular
didn't
after
see
that.
season two. I saw only season
Does
one of
season two
season.
came very recently. I did not see
Yeah,
season two yet,
yeah,
but
I
I
saw
saw
season
season
one.
one. Season two
Hmm.
came very recently. Season one was the
Yeah.
main hype, and I did not see it then. I saw it much later, but it's not a
Of
bad
course,
show.
there's it's over exaggerated at some point, but I think it's good, like as a motivational kind of he's
Totally.
dropping the content concepts, like right now you have stuff like Shark Tanks going on in India as
Yeah,
well,
that show
and
is
people
very
are much more.
overrated as well. But I don't watch
But
that show.
I sometimes just for fun I will watch some clips, and
I
I
watch
really
clips. I sometimes
yeah,
watch clips. I don't watch
I
the show at
never
all.
no, I also don't watch the show. I mostly watch clips sometimes if
Yeah.
it comes up.
Exactly.
Um,
Sometimes it just comes up on Facebook. Like I'm scrolling,
yeah.
it comes
Yeah,
up.
even
It's a
on
5 minute thing. So
Instagram.
okay,
Yeah.
I can give five
Yeah,
minutes for
exactly,
this shit.
exactly. Uh, so yeah, I think our things, these are the things like, right, laziness, saying that you are kind of disorganized and things something. I mean, I for the love of God, I cannot explain to my boss that I am disorganized, but so he really called me in his cabin one day and he told me, you are not the most organized person, right? I'm like, mm-hmm. And then he's like, but you get the job done, right? Mm-hmm. uh,
Yes.
but the other people, they don't know that what is going on in your mind, right? And I'm, so you have to let the other people know. Okay, I have to get better at communicating. Okay, so now my strategy is really like at work, at least it's like just maybe dropping an email to everyone at the beginning of the week or so that people are not getting paranoid. That I'm in some hole or by myself or something like that. So I just drop them an email saying, I'm going to respond to all your queries only on one day, that is Friday, and the rest of the week, so that I get to do my work and get to organize everything, report you back on Friday, and then we can have a discussion after.
Oh,
This is
nice.
how I work. This is how I work. This is what I am kind of comfortable with at the moment. And this also, if you want me to get the work done as efficiently as possible within this time frame, this is how I work. So
Yeah,
if
that's
I'm doing the
nice.
work, I get to set some rules, boundaries
Yeah,
about it.
that is nice. That is
Yeah.
nice. That is
So
something I'm not that good with,
I think I
unfortunately.
am slowly getting good at it, because I now see I have a problem from which I cannot escape if I don't handle it in this way, because then I am being misinterpreted in a lot of different contexts for just being me. you know, and I'm not going to go and change in one day. Like I cannot
Yeah.
change the person I am because some part of the creativity that comes out in my work, or some part, it's because of who I am. I think, and I am not going to compromise on that part. But I can get better at communicating that with other people.
Yeah, yeah,
That
totally.
this is what works for me. Let me know if you have any concerns.
Yeah, totally. Here again, congratulations on completing part 1 of the 3 parts. In the next part, we will be discussing a specific speech that made me famous, or I should say, infamous in high school. And we'll also be discussing religion, metaphysics, the mind body connection, managing the day as a geek, then extroversion versus introversion versus public speaking, career choice as a geek, and of course, commitment versus attachment. So, see you soon in part 2. Till then, keep exploring beyond the superficial.